This is your captain speaking. Good evening, and welcome on to flight GG6095, departing west on runway 25R from Los Angeles International Airport, Los Angeles, California, heading east towards Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's a fine summer evening for a flight. We got bright skies, light winds, and minimal interference on this flight. It's going to be a pretty short one, roughly 30 to 40 minutes, and it's only about 229 nautical miles, so we'll get through this one pretty quickly. Departing now from runway 25R, LAX, releasing the parking brake, increasing throttle to maximum for takeoff. We're off. It's a beautiful day for a flight, albeit a quick flight this one will be. And we are off the ground, decreasing flaps. Raising the landing gear. And we are clear of Los Angeles International Airport airspace. Now we are going to adjust our heading a little bit. Los Angeles International Airport, takeoff typically happens facing the ocean because the wind coming from the ocean assists greatly in taking off at lower speeds. So this ensures safer takeoff procedures and allows us to ensure that we are clear of the ground when we need to be. Airports will, more often than not, facilitate takeoff against the direction of the wind, if they can. If there are crosswinds, it doesn't do anything to help takeoff. Los Angeles International Airport is the primary international airport serving Los Angeles and its surrounding metropolitan area in the U.S. state of California. LAX is located in the Westchester neighborhood of the city of Los Angeles, about 18 miles southwest of downtown LA. With the commercial and residential areas of Westchester to the north, the city of El Segundo to the south, and the city of Inglewood to the east. LAX is the closest airport to the west side and the South Bay. The runway that we just took off from, 25R, is a concrete runway spanning approximately 12,923 feet. And it is one of the standard runways for commercial airline takeoffs. The airport itself is operated by Los Angeles World Airports, a branch of the Los Angeles city government that operates also for the Van Nuys Airport. The airport covers about 3,500 acres of land and has 4 parallel runways. Again, that is because of the wind coming from the ocean. Facilitates takeoff in the best way. In 2022, LAX handled almost 66 million passengers, making it the world's 6th busiest airport. If you've ever been to LAX, you'll know that that's not always a good thing. Busy airport means long lines, long wait times, and generally uncomfortable transit in a lot of cases. The airport was decided to be built in 1926, and in 1928 the construction was finished of at least the first part of the airport. Since then, it's expanded to 4 runways, about 7 smaller terminals, 1 main international terminal, and several other portions of the airport dedicated to cargo transport. Since 2008, the airport has been undergoing other major expansion. All of the terminals are being refurbished, and the Tom Bradley International Terminal was, for lack of a better word, rebuilt, with Westgate's satellite concourse added, and the outside of the terminal area was completely remodeled. Airports are generally designated with a 3 or 4 lettered code, and LAX, Los Angeles International Airport, got an X in its name. LA clearly designates it as the Los Angeles Airport. With the rapid growth in the aviation industry, in 1947, the identifiers expanded to 3 letters. So LA received an extra letter to become LAX. It doesn't have any real specific meaning. LAX is also used for the Port of Los Angeles and San Pedro, and by Amtrak for Union Station in downtown LA. If you look now to our left, you'll see the small high desert settlement of Lake Los Angeles. Lake Los Angeles is a census-designated place in Los Angeles County, California. Population was approximately 12,000 people in the 2010 census. It's located about 17 miles from Palmdale Civic Center, and it's part of the Palmdale-Lancaster urban area, which has a total population of approximately 500,000 people. The region was once called the Los Angeles Buttes, since they were the only ones in the northern part of the county, located in the backyard of Los Angeles, beyond the San Gabriel Mountain barrier. The airfield includes runways 24R or 06L, 24L or 06R, and runways 25R, the one that we just took off from, which is also 07L, and 25L 07R. The runway we took off from, 25R, is the longest runway in the airport, in the airfield. LAX is located with the Pacific Ocean to the west and residential communities on all other sides. You can imagine what that does for the property value of those communities. Since 1972, Los Angeles World Airports has adopted preferential runway use policy to reduce and minimize noise in the communities closest to LAX. This means that upon takeoff, what we're supposed to do is cut the engines, but we didn't do that today because we're in a bit of a hurry. Typically the loudest operations at the airport are from departing aircraft like us, so during the daytime hours, 6:30 a.m. to midnight, LAX prefers to operate under the Westerly Operations air traffic pattern, named for the prevailing west winds, which is the direction that we took off from. So, partially to facilitate takeoff and partially to reduce noise. That's why we took off towards the ocean. The city of Los Angeles itself is the most populous city in the U.S. state of California. It has almost 4 million residents in the city as of 2020. It's the second most populous city in the U.S., behind only New York City. When you consider this on a global perspective, it's not that big of a city though. 3.9 million residents in the city. We got cities around the world with over 10 million people in them. But it's still a pretty big city for the developing United States. I'm not sure if that number includes the suburban communities, but the city itself. It's the financial and cultural center of Southern California. Los Angeles has an ethnically and culturally diverse population, and the principal city has a metropolitan area of 13.2 million people. There you go. That answers my question before. Greater Los Angeles, the total metropolitan area, which includes Riverside and San Bernardino, has over 18 million residents. It's quite a large spread, but it is what it is. The majority of the city lies in a basin in Southern California, adjacent to the Pacific Ocean and extending through the Santa Monica Mountains and north into the San Fernando Valley. It borders the San Gabriel Valley to its east and covers about 469 square miles. It's the fourth most visited city in the US with 2.7 million visitors as of 2022. When you put that in perspective, it's not that much tourism compared to extremely popular locations such as New York, Shanghai, Paris, Tokyo, and Hawaii. Other cultural centers of the world. As we approach 45,000 feet, I have to remind everybody that although it is safe now to move around the cabin, you should keep your seatbelts fastened as much as possible. You should keep your seatbelts fastened as often as possible to reduce the risk of turbulence causing any bodily harm to you or your other fellow passengers. We're passing now over the Mojave Desert. The Mojave Desert is an expansive desert that spans between California, Nevada, Arizona, and Utah. It includes the National Park of Death Valley, the Mojave Desert, together with the Sonoran, Chihuahuan, and Great Basin deserts, form the larger North American desert. Of these, the Mojave is the smallest and the driest. It displays typical basin and range topography, generally having a pattern of a series of parallel mountain ranges and valleys. Death Valley, what I mentioned earlier, is a national park in California, and it's the lowest elevation in North America. The Mojave Desert is often colloquially called the High Desert, as most of it lies between 2,000 and 4,000 feet, and it supports a diversity of flora and fauna. The 54,000 square mile desert supports a number of human activities, including recreation, ranching, and military training. I have a couple of friends who like to do their military training out in the desert. The Mojave Desert also contains various silver, tungsten, iron, and gold deposits. The spelling Mojave originates from the Spanish language. The spelling Mojave with a J originates from the Spanish language, while the spelling Mojave with an H comes from modern English. Both are used today, but the Mojave tribal nation officially uses the spelling with the J. Mojave is a shortened form of Hamakawe, an endonym in their native language which means beside the water, due to its location very close to the ocean. There are many geographical features about the Mojave Desert. The Mojave Desert is a desert bordered by the Sierra Nevada mountain range and the California montane, chaparral, and woodlands. To the south and east by the Sonoran Desert of Arizona and Mexico. The boundaries to the east of the Mojave Desert are less distinctive than the other boundaries because there's no presence of an indicator species such as the Joshua tree, which is endemic to the Mojave Desert. The Mojave Desert is distinguished from the Sonoran Desert and other deserts by its warm temperate climate, as well as flora and fauna such as ironwood, Bamboo Palo Verde, Chuparosa, Spiny Menadora, Desert Senna, California Delea, California Fan Palms, and Golden Heads. Along with these other factors, these plants differentiate the Mojave from the nearby Sonoran Desert. The Mojave Desert is bordered by the San Andreas Fault to the southwest, and the Garlic Fault to the north. These mountains elevated along the length of the San Andreas Fault provide a clear border between the Mojave Desert and the coastal regions to the west, where LA sits. The Garlic Fault separates the Mojave Desert from the Sierra Nevada and the Tehachapi Mountains, which provide a natural border to the Mojave Desert. There are also abundant alluvial fans, which are called bajadas, that form around the mountains within the Mojave Desert and extend down toward the low altitude basins, which contain dry lake beds called playas, where water generally collects and evaporates, leaving large volumes of salt. These playas include Rogers Dry Lake and China Lake. Dry lakes are a noted feature of the Mojave landscape. The Mojave Desert is also home to the Devil's Playground, about 40 miles of dunes and salt flats going in a northwest-southeasterly direction. The Devil's Playground is a part of the Mojave National Preserve and is located between the town of Baker, California and Providence Mountains. The Cronies Mountains are within the Devil's Playground. There are a few surface rivers in the Mojave Desert, but two major rivers generally flow underground. One is the intermittent Mojave River, which begins in the San Bernardino Mountains and disappears underground in the Mojave Desert. The other is the Amargosa River, which flows partly underground through the Mojave Desert along a southward path. Although the impacts of these rivers are invisible to us at the surface, they may result in canyons like the Grand Canyon appearing in the distant future. The Mannix, Mojave, and Little Mojave lakes are all large but shallow. Soda Lake is the principal saline basin of the Mojave Desert. Natural springs are typically rare throughout the Mojave Desert, but there are two notable springs, Ash Meadows and Oasis Valley. Ash Meadows is formed from several other springs, which all draw from deep underground. Oasis Valley draws from the nearby Amargosa River. We are passing now over the city of Barstow, California. Barstow, California is currently sporting a population of over 25,000 people as of the 2020 census. The settlement of Barstow began in the late 1840s as part of the Mormon Corridor. Every fall and winter, as the weather cooled, rain produced new grass growth and replenished water sources in the Mojave Desert. People, goods, and animal herds would move from New Mexico and later on Utah to Los Angeles along what was previously the old Spanish Trail, and after 1848 it was called the Mormon Road from Salt Lake City. Barstow was one settlement along that route and continued to grow from there, and eventually became an established city in 1947. You can see all around us we are passing through the expanses of the Mojave Desert right now. Let me see if I can get you a closer look. While I'm trying to figure out my controls here, I'll talk a little bit about our destination. Las Vegas is the home of the Las Vegas Strip, which is world famous for its contemporary architecture on its properties, its immense resorts, the lights, the attractions, and the variety of restaurants that are present there. The first casino to be built in this area was the Paradise Club in 1931, but the first full casino resort that was built on the Strip was El Rancho Vegas. After that, the next hotel that was built was the Hotel Las Frontier in 1942. Now, as you can see, we have the vast expanse of the Mojave below us. By the way, we're pretty much traveling along the I-15 route. The I-15 is the typical way that we would be going if we were driving in a car to get from LA to Las Vegas. You can see the I-15 running just down here through the vast expanse of desert as well as the mountains of the Mojave. The I-15, or Interstate 15, is a major interstate highway in the western United States. It starts near the Mexican border in San Diego, California, and stretches all the way north to Alberta, Canada. Over in Canada, it turns from the Interstate 15 to the Highway 4. Runs through the states of California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, and Montana. Montana is where it transitions from the U.S. highway to Canada Highway 4. It goes through the major cities of San Diego, San Bernardino, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, Idaho Falls, and Great Falls. It also goes pretty close to Los Angeles, and I think it passes through Riverside too. Stretches of the Idaho, Utah, and Arizona I-15 have been designated as the Veterans Memorial Highway. But on the southern end is a junction with the I-8 and State Route 15 in San Diego. It runs about 1,400 miles from end to end. The I-15 was constructed along the route of US 91. I-15 was relatively intact, and then US 91 was decommissioned, except for one part in northern Utah and southern Idaho, where the I-15 instead followed the route of the former US 191. The I-15 had two suffixed routes. In California, I-15 had an eastern branch bypassing San Bernardino, which was designated I-15E. Today, it's known as the I-215. Present-day routing of the I-15 in California was originally given the I-15 West as its title while it was under construction, but it was never officially signed as such. In Idaho, I-15 had a western branch near Pocatello, which connected the I-15 and I-84. This highway was designated I-15 West as well. It is now the western I-86. Since the construction of the I-15, California, Nevada, Utah have consistently ranked in the fastest growing areas of the United States. As a result, the route of I-15 has substantially increased in population, and commuter traffic has increased the traffic burden on the freeway. I saw an example of this growing up. My parents and I used to drive from LA to Las Vegas once or twice a year. And since then, it's become 3 lanes in each direction, where it used to be 1 lane in each direction, and most of it has turned into a 2-lane highway. They're also considering expanding it further, which may or may not alleviate the traffic burden, but ultimately, when an accident happens, does it not block the lanes? Due to the rapid area growth, the I-15 corridor is the focus of several mass transit projects. The Las Vegas monorail, Front Runner commuter rail system, and Trax light rail in Salt Lake City are mass transit lines loosely parallel to the I-15 that are now in operation. Between Las Vegas and Los Angeles, there has been a long proposed maglev train route. In 2004, the Interstate Maglev project between California and Nevada held public meetings on the plan. However, since then, not much progress has happened, and instead they just expanded the highway. The segment signed as State Route 15 from I-5 to I-8 in San Diego is planned to be redesignated as part of the I-15 once this segment is completely converted to interstate standards, namely where the freeway's interchange with State Route 94 is concerned. interchange currently has left exits and blind merges, and is due to be updated with a widening of both the State Route 15 and State Route 94. At this time, State Route 15 is planned to be redesigned as part of I-15. The remaining portion of State Route 15 conforms with interstate standards, so it's just that one part that's keeping it from being converted. As we approach Las Vegas, I guess I should tell you a little bit about our destination, shouldn't I? Las Vegas is often simply known as Vegas, and most populous city in the United States state of Nevada, and the county seat of Clark County. Contrary to popular belief, Las Vegas is not the capital of Nevada. The state capital of Nevada is actually Carson City, Nevada, which has a population of just under 60,000 as of the 2020 census. It's the sixth most populous city in the state, and it's located closer to Reno than it is to Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Valley metropolitan area is the largest within the greater Mojave Desert and the second largest in the southern United States. Las Vegas is an internationally renowned major resort city, known primarily for its gambling, shopping, fine dining, entertainment, and nightlife. I guess I should tell you a little bit about how it came to be. Originally, a young Mexican scout named Rafael Rivera is credited as the first non-Native American to encounter the valley in 1829. Before that, it was settled or traveled by nomadic Paleo-Indians, Native Americans, who traveled there about 10,000 years ago, leaving behind petroglyphs, ancient Puebloan and Paiute tributes, which followed at least 2,000 years ago. Trader Antonio Armijo led a 60-man party along the Spanish Trail to Los Angeles, California in 1829, and in 1844, John C. Fremont arrived in this area. His writings helped lure pioneers to the area. Downtown Las Vegas' Fremont Street is named after him. And if you've ever been to Vegas, Fremont Street is where it's at. I would highly recommend a visit over there. After Fremont, 11 years later, members of the Church of Latter-day Saints chose Las Vegas as the site to build a fort halfway between Salt Lake City and Los Angeles, where they would travel to gather supplies. The fort was abandoned several years afterward. The remainder of this old Mormon fort can still be seen in the intersection of Las Vegas Boulevard and Washington Avenue. Let me check our general location relative to the airport right now. It would appear that we are getting quite close to the airport, so I'm going to go ahead and let them know that we are not far away, and that we're going to need a runway for landing soon. Alright, I'm going to disengage the autopilot here. We're going to start preparing for landing. We are beginning our descent. It's a bit of a steep descent. My apologies. Please, once again, ensure that you have your seatbelt fastened. So back on the topic of the history of Las Vegas. Las Vegas was founded as a city in 1905 when 110 acres of land adjacent to the Union Pacific Railroad tracks were auctioned in what would later become the downtown area. In 1911, Las Vegas was incorporated as a city. 1931 was a pivotal year for Las Vegas. At that time, Nevada legalized casino gambling and reduced residency requirements for divorce to 6 weeks. This year was also witnessed the beginning of the construction of the nearby Hoover Dam. The influx of construction workers and their families helped Las Vegas avoid economic calamity during the Great Depression. The construction work was completed in 1935 on the Hoover Dam. In late 1941, Las Vegas Army Airfield was established, renamed Nellis Air Force Base. In 1950, it is now home to the United States Air Force Thunderbirds aerobatic team. Following World War II, lavishly decorated hotels, gambling casinos, and big-name entertainment became synonymous with Las Vegas. Organized crime figures such as Bugsy Siegel, who was originally from New York, took big interest in the growing Las Vegas gaming center. Gaming, we'll talk about that later. And he built the Flamingo Resort with mob money. The construction of the Flamingo Resort was started by the famed Hollywood publisher Billy Wilkerson. After that, Wilbur Clark's Desert Inn Resort opened in 1950. And the funding of many Las Vegas projects was provided through the American National Insurance Company, which was based in the then notorious gambling empire of Galveston, Texas. Las Vegas Boulevard South was previously called Highway 91, or the Arrowhead Highway, or the Los Angeles Highway. The strip was named by Los Angeles police officer and businessman Guy McAfee after his hometown's Sunset Strip in Hollywood. When the town was unincorporated back in 1950, the city of Las Vegas sought to annex the strip, which ran through unincorporated Clark County territory, so that they could expand the city's tax base and fund his ambitious building agenda and pay down the city's rising debt. Instead, Gus Greenbaum of the Flamingo led a group of casino executives to lobby the Clark County commissioners for town status. 2 unincorporated towns were eventually created, Paradise and Winchester. More than 2 decades later, the Supreme Court of Nevada struck down a 1975 Nevada state law that would have folded the Strip and the rest of the urban areas of Clark County into the city of Las Vegas. After that, Caesar's Palace was built in 1966. In 1968, the Flamingo was purchased by Kerkorian. The MGM Grand was built in 1973, and the expansion continued from there. In 1951, nuclear weapons testing began at the Nevada test site, 65 miles northwest of Las Vegas. During this time, the city was nicknamed the Atomic City. Residents and visitors were able to witness the mushroom clouds and were exposed to the fallout, until 1963, when the Partial Nuclear Test Ban Treaty required that nuclear tests be moved underground. In 1955, Moulin Rouge Hotel opened and became the first racially integrated casino in Las Vegas. A little bit of American history for you there. During the 1960s, a little bit of history for you there that expands beyond Las Vegas. During the 1960s, corporation and business tycoons such as Howard Hughes were building and buying hotel casino properties. Gambling was referred to as gaming, which transitioned it into a legitimate business. Learning from Las Vegas, published during this era, asked architects to take inspiration from the city's highly decorated buildings, helping it to start the postmodern architecture movement. And that was about when we saw a lot of other things come into regular cities, such as neon lights, neon signs. Apologies, that was a bit of a steep turn there. We're still lowering our elevation so that we can enter the entry pattern and land in McCarran International Airport. In 1995, the the Fremont Street Experience opened in Las Vegas' downtown area. This canopied 5-block area featured 12.5 million LED lights and apologies. It's kind of hard to recite and fly a plane, as it would seem. We're going to take some time here and try to descend further. This is very improper, very unusual flight pattern. And you probably won't experience this on an actual flight, but, you know, that's the magic of gaming. So anyways, the canopied 5-block area features 12.5 million LED lights, 550,000 watts of sound from dusk till midnight, and shows held at the top of each hour. I had the pleasure of experiencing the Fremont Street Experience myself, and honestly, I enjoyed it even more than being on the Strip. Due to the realization of many revitalization efforts, 2012 was dubbed the Year of Downtown Projects, worth hundreds of millions of dollars that made their debut at the time, including the Smith Center for the Performing Arts, the Discovery Children's Museum, the Mob Museum, the Neon Museum, the new City Hall complex, and renovations for the new corporate headquarters of a company that I won't name because I'm not being sponsored, in the headquarters of the old City Hall building. Alright, now we are getting very close to our goal. So I'm going to continue descending altitude, and I'm going to lower the landing gear so that we can have a smooth transition from air to ground. All the while, I'll try to tell you a little bit about the place where we're landing. Harry Reid International Airport, known by the 3-unit code LAS, not LAX, LAS, is known as an international airport serving the Las Vegas Valley. It's a metropolitan area. The Las Vegas Valley is the metropolitan area in the state of Nevada, which contains Las Vegas and its surrounding suburbs. It's located about 4 miles from the downtown of Las Vegas in the unincorporated areas of Paradise. It covers about 2,800 acres of land. As we enter the flight pattern here for entry, we're going to be lowering our speed. I have guides on because I still need a little bit of help with this. And we no longer have to decrease our altitude until we land. There it is, downtown Las Vegas and surrounding suburbs. Reid is owned by Clark County and operated by the county's Department of Aviation. The airport is named after the late U.S. Congressman, Senator from Nevada, Harry Reid. It has 4 runways, 2 terminals, 5 gate areas, and all are connected with a people mover system, similar to SFO. Reid is one of 2 airports in the United States with slot machines inside the terminals. So if you're planning to get your gambling addiction started early, just come on into the airport. Go right ahead. You can see to our left, the sprawl of downtown Las Vegas is not far away. We gotta keep an eye on our speed here so that we don't nosedive all of a sudden. So, Reid Airport opened in January 1943 as Alamo Field and initially catered to general aviation. Apologies, gotta respond here to the tower. Golf 6095, copy. Clear to land, runway 26 right. In 1948, it was rechristened for U.S. Senator Pat McCarran, and commercial airlines shifted it from the Las Vegas Army Airfield. Passenger counts increased in the 1950s as the Strip expanded, leading to the construction of a new terminal. McCarran later came to be seen as the model for common use approach to airport resources in the United States and pioneered radio frequency identification of baggage. Gotta increase our speed here. There you have it. Sunset over Las Vegas. Wish I could stare at it a little bit more, but gotta focus on the flight at hand. We've got our flaps totally extended and our landing gear down, which causes extra drag on the plane and lowers our speed naturally. If we lose too much speed, we can't stay airborne. I can talk a little bit about the engineering of aviation at some point. It's one of the challenges of being your pilot this evening. I also have a camera on the front of the plane that I can use to show you the landing process. However, I can't use it this time because my buttons are glitching. I don't have them mapped correctly. It's a beautiful evening for a clean landing in a beautiful city. Reed is served by over 30 airlines and is an operating base for Allegiant Air, Frontier Airlines, JSX, Southwest Airlines, and Spirit Airlines. Southwest became its dominant carrier in the 1990s. In 2023, 57.6 million passengers passed through the airport, the most in its history. Reed has international flights to cities in Asia, Europe, and North America. And look at that. Landing gear down. Landing gear is down. We are slowing down our descent into Harry Reid International Airport. Gonna make a few minor adjustments here before we land and ensure as smooth of a landing as we can. Wind 259 at 6 indicates something of a challenge.
500.
Cutting the engines. And we have a little bit of a delay in our landing because I came in a little too fast.
50.
And that's touchdown. Not as smooth as I wanted, but we are here. Turn next taxiway. You got it. And welcome to the city of Las Vegas. Thank you for flying on Worldwide Airways. I was your captain this evening, Captain Worldwide, and I look forward to our next flight together. Until then, enjoy the city of Las Vegas, and I'll see you on the next flight. Thanks again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you really enjoyed it. Stay tuned for a little bit more on the way. Have a good one.